This is the Crossfire podcast, brought to you by Outlaw Legacy. So the last time we did that, Dre thought I was actually talking, and that's a sound bite that we created. And she looked over and she said my lips weren't moving, but I was talking, so that was pretty funny. We had a good laugh at that. I am Craig Russell, and I am kind of trying to figure out this podcasting thing as we go. Across from me is my lovely wife, Amanda.
Hello.
And my partner in crime, sister-in-law, Dre.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, people.
So Amanda and I have created Outlaw Legacy, and we're basically going to share our crazy life through Outlaw Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
We have Outlaw Consulting Group, which is our business. It's our marketing agency, but we needed another outlet for the crazy things that we do,
The not so crazy things that we do.
the normal things that we do, the sharing of people's stories and friends, business colleagues, mentors.
Yeah, we felt that we needed a platform to share stories. We talk about this a lot over at Outlaw Consulting Group. We are storytellers, and we believe that everybody has a story to tell. And we have many, many stories, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. And so we wanted to be able to document what we do every day because we think our life is a little bit abnormal to, the standard. So that's why we started Outlaw Legacy. And then we thought, you know what, it'd be cool to start a podcast and kind of come on here and tell people stories. So season 1 is going to be all about storytelling, and we are excited to get started.
Excited.
Yeah, and so we, in our business, we have Dre that is a contractor for us, and she's been helping us a lot with our digital strategizing, just getting more content out there, and this is a part of that. And we really just appreciate her spending time with us. She's learning, and she seems to be enjoying it as well. So that's awesome.
And if you've seen pictures of us online, we look identical almost. We are sisters.
Yeah.
So
You may not be able to tell us apart as well,
sometimes.
voice-wise.
Oh yeah, voice-wise, we're very similar, I think. But
You'll be able to tell me apart, though, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I hope so.
I feel like we had to clear that up because Craig and I have met people, or we've gone into meetings, and then they awkwardly ask us at the end, "Are you guys married?" And sometimes
because our voices sound the same.
Or they catch me and Craig at places.
Oh yeah,
and they think I'm Amanda.
They think Dre is me. So yes, Craig and I are married, and Dre and our sisters. So
Yes.
it's a family.
And I am not Amanda.
It's a family very good. She's not Amanda.
And Dre and I are not brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's the
No.
beautiful
Or
thing
married.
about it. Yeah. Yeah. So glad we got that clarified.
Yeah.
That was number 1 on my list to get to today, so I appreciate you guys airing that out. Well, I mean, basically, this is a storytelling podcast in season 1, like we talked about. It may change in the future. We don't really know what we want to do with this, other than the fact that it's an outlet for us, and we really want to see what happens, what comes out of it. So, being that it's a storytelling podcast, we'd love to start with telling our stories of how, not from all the way from the beginning, but how we came together, and go from there. So let's start with Amanda, because she's the oldest.
Oh, you always look for that dig.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nani.
okay. So I'm the oldest of 3 girls. Dre is the baby. We have another sister, B. She's in the middle. Dre and I have been inseparable almost from the time that she was born.
And I think we're obviously the favorite. I mean, come on.
Wow.
we don't
I
put
mean,
that. We don't put that out in public.
Yeah. B's probably going to listen to this. And be
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Screw you
I
guys.
know.
I want the 4th mic.
This is we will give opportunity to everybody to tell their story, just like political interviews. Just kidding.
Wow. Okay. So you're one of three. Your dad is Ramon. He's very passionate about you girls and his work, and he's got a very tight-knit family, and that's kind of how you guys were too, is you were very tight-knit. Your mom is just loving life right now. We're having a good time with her, and she's doing good.
Yeah, and I think both of my parents are very, very, very creative people, very resourceful, and they're both go-getters, like super, super hard work ethic, very driven, and I learned that from them. So being the oldest, I think, obviously parents are much more strict and afraid of parenting with their oldest child than they are, the others. And
well, it's new for them. They're trying to keep this baby alive. They're like, they've never done it before.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because with me, it was a completely different story.
Yeah. But my
I have
parents,
free reign.
You were a free range chicken.
My parents were both really young when they had me, so it was almost kind of growing up with them. They were trying to find themselves in their early 20s and stuff, and we had moved into their first home, and just watching them create, really, create a home, kind of create hobbies. It, I think, taught me a lot about being creative and being resourceful, and there was always an opportunity to make something, and if you couldn't think of it, you weren't thinking hard enough, or if you couldn't come up with anything, you weren't thinking or trying hard enough. So I feel like that kind of like lit an entrepreneurial mindset or like fire in me. And so I knew at some point that I wanted to start a business. Wasn't sure what that looked like, but I knew that I did not fit the traditional 9-to-5 mold. So I went off to college. Craig and I met in junior college, and we have another episode on this where we'll tell our story a little bit more. But we met in junior college in our last semester, and then I went off to Oklahoma State. He went off to Texas Tech. And then when we moved back home, I had a couple different jobs, and then I one day was like, all right, this is it. I have to quit my job. I'm going to start Outlaw. And we'll also have another podcast episode that really goes in depth here, because it was scary, and there were a lot of things that we learned, and it took us a while to kind of get going. But making that jump was probably the scariest but also biggest decision that I made. And we're going on our 6th year now of being in business, and now I get to work with my spouse, which is awesome. We've been working full time together for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. It's flown by.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
No, literally, like the month after we got married, he quit his job, and we jumped into this full time. And then Dre has kind of been working for us part time here and there over the last couple years, really since we got started.
Yeah.
Like she would start, and then she would go like work full time, and then she'd kind of come back in between jobs, or she would help us here and there. But now she's really on board with us. It's been about 6 months now.
Yeah, about that, probably.
And she's really like grown and blossomed in her role with us. So it's fun now because we're like all working toward the same goal, and it's with our family, and we're having a good time. And it's the people that you're closest to. And I feel like sometimes we get so sick of each other. We're like, oh my God, I'm going to go for a walk. I can't see your face right now.
Yeah.
We're back to it 20 minutes later, and we're joking around. But these are the people who I feel like they have my back and I have their back, and we're all like, we're not afraid to talk about uncomfortable things with each other, or put each other in check, like, hey, you've got an attitude today. You better, suck it up or snap out of it, because we've got stuff to get to.
That's mainly me telling you.
Or me and Craig telling each other.
Yeah.
We had this conversation like 2 days ago.
They fight like siblings.
We were not talking to each other all morning, and then we started editing a video, and both of us were like, yeah, both of us were kind of sassy this morning. Like,
and we were giggling pretty much the entire time.
We were pretty rude to each other.
Yeah, one comes in and is like, Dre is sassy. And then Dre's like, what is wrong with Craig? He's got his sassy pants on today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, both of you just need to like, duel it out and get over it. But that's what makes it fun, So we have a pretty good like relationship and camaraderie. So I feel like this podcast is a great reflection of that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think we're all very passionate about what we do, and we're very passionate about each other. We, like you said, we have each other's back, and we are going to basically call each other out on each other's crap.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good. Sometimes that flares a reaction as well. But it's a good time. We just to give a little bit of a sense of how our office setup is we do work from home, or we work from Amanda and my house.
Mm-hmm.
Dre comes to us sometimes, and we converted our master bedroom, because it was the largest room other than the living area, into our office.
And that was my idea.
Yeah, that was Dre's idea.
By the way.
It was. Well, we were spending...
Don't take credit for it. I told you it would be a great idea.
She did, and then we laughed her off. We rolled our eyes.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my gosh, yeah, right. Well, it made sense, though, because we were spending all of our time in the office.
Yeah, you spend 10 hours a day, or 8 to 10 hours a day in that room.
And at the time, the office was our smallest spare bedroom, and we were crammed in there, and Dre came over one day, and she was like, why don't you make the master bedroom your office? And we laughed it off and whatever. Haha, you're so funny. Why would we do that? And then a couple weeks later, Craig's like, I have an idea. What if we make the master bedroom?
I came over and everything was moved. And you never once gave me credit.
No, and I remember I told you, I was like, Dre, sometimes you just have to make him think that it was his idea.
You know what? I don't remember you ever saying that. So maybe you slipped it in ASMR or
I'm
something
pretty sure
on me.
I said it
Yeah,
multiple
she said it
times.
multiple times.
Multiple times.
So we did that, and it's been 4 years since we've been in the master bedroom. So it was about the time that you quit your job.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Yeah.
And best decision we've made as far as working from home.
I agree.
Yeah.
So now we are in the dining room.
Yeah, because we needed a bigger table for all of our podcasting equipment. So that was the idea behind that. I think we even put a leaf in our table just to give us a little bit more space, because these guys are drinking. We're on a Sunday afternoon. And what are you drinking anyways? What is the drink of the day?
Malibu orange juice, and then I have
With a sliver of
strawberry.
2
strawberries.
slivers.
Whoa, you
Two
got 2?
slivers, yeah.
Wow, big baller.
And then I have a medicine ball tea
Mm.
and some water.
Options.
I like
I like
options.
these.
Options. It's a good thing you don't have one straw for everything.
It is.
Yeah. Yep. So, what do you want to accomplish with this? I mean, what is your goal for this podcast?
Well, I think two main things. People who have worked with us in business don't really know our personality that much, or our interactions are very limited. There are some people who we have worked with for a really long time, but we are more than our business. We're more than digital strategists. We're more than drone pilots. We're more than farmers. There's this whole other side to us, and I feel like when we, especially as small business owners, we wear many hats, and to try to suppress the personality behind it is kind of difficult sometimes, So I think we are who we are, and we happen to do the things that we do, but I think that I really wanted to show everybody who we were, because I like to think we're a little bit quirky and funny, and we're definitely not
Sassy.
We're
Unique.
sassy. We
Wow.
are unique.
Sassy, unique.
We are not average. And I don't say that I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not saying it to it's a superior thing, but we're definitely not average, and we're not cookie cutter. So I'd like to.
I didn't catch it as superior. I think that you just meant it as we are different,
You're different.
and sometimes different is good.
I hope. I like to think that in this case it is good.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would like to do is, like I mentioned before, is tell people stories. So ever since I was a kid, I think I was really drawn to journalism, and because of people's stories. I've always thought that everybody had a story to tell if you asked it. And there are a lot of stories that I've learned in my family history, things about other people's families that their own, grandkids and stuff didn't know because they never asked. So I would like to tell these people's stories, and they're everyday common people. They're people, that we work with. They're people that we've known our whole lives. Some of them are people that we just met, but I think it's interesting to see how they have come in life, lessons they've learned, and maybe tips that they wish they could tell themselves when they were younger. So that's the goal.
Yeah, I think, you know, just in general, you have both you and Dre have very unique to our area, just history and cultural history. Your dad moved here with his youngest sister
And brother.
and he was the next
Yeah.
in line, a
So
little bit older than him.
The three
Yeah.
youngest siblings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
moved
Yeah.
from central Mexico,
Mhm.
from just north of Mexico City, and moved to the United States. And how old were they? They were in junior high, high
They
school?
were probably
They
like,
started their freshman year, I think, when they arrived.
I think they were about 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't hardly know any English.
No.
Or zero.
I don't think they
I
knew
don't
any
think-
English
yeah.
at all. Yeah.
So you grew up, more Amanda than Dre, grew up speaking Spanish as your primary language.
Yep, it was my first language. So when I was born, we moved into my paternal grandparents' home. That's where we lived. And we lived there until I think I was probably 3, maybe 4, when they bought their house and we moved in there. So my grandparents helped raise me. Spanish was my first language. And I don't remember when I learned English. But at the time, like I mentioned earlier, you know, parents are usually stricter with their first child. So we had the rule of we had to speak Spanish at home. Like,
Especially like conservative Catholic parents. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you guys were very
Hardcore.
strict,
strict. Yeah.
very strict. Yeah. So if I was going to speak to my dad, I had to speak to my dad in Spanish. And for a while there, when I started learning English, I just thought, well, I'm just not going to talk to my dad. If I have to speak another language, I'm not going to do it.
Especially your grandfather too.
Yeah. So my grandparents only spoke. They've always told us that they understood and they spoke
and
English.
they spoke it. They pretended
Yeah.
like they couldn't
but it
to make
was-
it more difficult on you.
No, it was easier for
They
them.
did. It was a respect
yeah.
thing, supposedly, you know, to speak to them in Spanish. So we had to speak to them in Spanish, and then all of our uncles spoke Spanish. Although they understand English, it
Yeah.
was, you know, within the family, we had to speak Spanish. And then B came along, and it was a little bit more lenient. As the family grew, you know, more kids started coming in, it became much more lenient. And then when Drake came along, it was just like,
They didn't
oh,
care.
she
They
can
lost it.
speak? Cool.
That's exactly what it was.
Didn't matter what language it was. They just needed her to communicate. So, yeah.
And it was mainly about food, right?
And it was mainly about food.
Yes, always.
Dre's a foodie.
Yes. I'm a huge foodie and huge scent person.
Sense, like common?
Sense. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. The first time I met Dre, I heard the story about her basically making a onion and pesto sandwich.
Ugh. It's not what I expected you to say. There's so many other stories.
There are a
but
lot of other
okay.
stories. We're talking about food,
I
though,
thought
Dre.
maybe I got hit by a car or
She was scouted by a Disney talent.
yeah, or
Oh.
that.
You have a lot of good
I
stories.
do have a lot of good stories.
But you brought up the pesto.
I know, but you brought up that
Well,
story.
we're talking about foodie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I
Okay,
thought
but
of.
I also burnt chicken nuggets.
Yeah, we need to talk about that too. Are
Yes.
we writing this stuff down? Because we need to come back to this stuff. The Disney Scout, the chicken nuggets,
A lot of
Getting hit
people
by a
don't
car.
believe it
hit by
either.
a car, your gallbladder.
So I'm glad we'll discuss it at one point.
Oh, yeah. True story. I was there for almost all of them.
All of them, except for the Dino Nuggets, probably. 'Cause
Yeah,
you would have
no, you
stopped
weren't
that.
I
there.
would have stopped that.
I
yeah.
was in high school at that. I was old enough to know that you shouldn't put dino nuggets in a microwave for 11 minutes.
on a styrofoam plate.
No, it was a glass plate because
Okay.
the plate was completely black, and Pop had just bought in a new set, and he was angry, and
Were
the
you-
house smelled like burnt chicken nuggets for 3 days.
Were you trying to make him go
Ew.
extinct again?
No.
Have you had them since?
No, I don't think so. I've had regular chicken nuggets since,
But
but
not
not
the
dino. No.
Is it like that time that you put the top ramen? Remember when you lived with us in Texas?
Oh.
And she put leftover top ramen in the fridge, and the noodles got really
I
big
haven't
and
eaten
gross.
top ramen since that day.
I don't remember this.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yes,
do.
you
You
do.
totally remember.
You're
Did
the
it stink
one-
up the whole house?
The one that
No,
found
they
it.
just got like really big and like
Yes,
yeah.
I do remember that now. They look like hoses. They were huge.
Disgusting.
You put it in a Ziploc bag, right?
Ziploc
Yeah,
bag.
I remember that now. Yeah, that was disgusting. And I was like,
I have
"Do
not
you want?"
eaten them since this day, or since that day.
That was what
I was a freshman in high
6
school.
years ago?
8 years ago, yeah, something
Almost
like
8
that.
years ago.
That's terrible. It's disgusting.
Oh my gosh. Did you even season them with the seasoning?
I don't know. I don't remember.
How much water did you put in there to make them go that
A
big?
lot, apparently.
I mean, you had to add a gallon of water to
Yeah.
that thing. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a foodie. I wouldn't say the best. I don't think I can cook the best, but I love eating it.
Yeah, and you're like pushing everybody to own a air fryer.
Air fryer, yes. I
And
love air fryers. If you don't own an air fryer, then you're
missing
living
out on life.
terribly. Yeah.
Yeah. She keeps saying that we need one, so I guess we
I'm
have to get
about
one.
to unplug mine and bring mine over here.
We'll go for
Every
that.
day.
She like keeps telling me like if we have leftovers for lunch, she has, leftover French fries or whatever. Keep them because I can air fry them later.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yes.
okay, weirdo.
Yes.
So apparently that's the bee's knees when it comes to it. But yeah, so that's kind of what we wanted to do. And I don't know if we want to make this a shorter episode or keep going, but we could start with episode 2 after this, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been real.
Thanks
It's been
for
fresh.
It's been fresh. It's been funky. It's been
Yes.
fresh. It's been funky fresh.
Funky fresh. My soundboard. There we go. Or am I supposed to do the other one? We are learning as we go, people. But I really want to thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next one.